Welcome, curious minds, to another daily deep dive. Today, we're plunging right into the thick of it, Major League Baseball action from yesterday, June 29th, 2025.
Yeah, a packed Sunday. Our plan is to really unpack the key moments, maybe some surprising results, and, the trends that started to pop out.
Exactly. And as we're right on the edge of July, you can just feel things heating up.
Oh, absolutely. The intensity is definitely ratcheting up. Teams are either trying to lock down their spots or really scrapping to get back in the race. Yesterday was a perfect example of that.
We saw everything from those East Coast rivalries to key West Coast games.
It was a real smorgasbord, like you said. Dominant wins, some real nail biters, and the strategic doubleheaders.
Yeah, let's start there. Those doubleheaders, they really threw a wrench into things, didn't they?
They absolutely did. Added this extra layer of complexity. You saw managers really having to juggle their bullpens, think about fatigue, two full games back to back. That's tough.
It's like a marathon and a sprint combined. And what struck me was how many ended in splits.
That's a great point. It really shows the parity, I think. Look at the Braves and Phillies in the NL East.
Right. Game one, Braves just roll 6-1. Looks like pure offensive dominance.
Totally. But then, game two, Phillies dig deep, scratch out a 2-1 win. That's resilience.
And not just mental, right.
Yeah.
You mentioned they used their closer for more than an inning.
Exactly. 1.1 innings. That's a big commitment. Shows how much they wanted or maybe needed that split. It tells you something about their pitching depth and their tactical thinking, too.
Okay. Then shift over to the Central Cubs versus Astros.
Yeah.
Similar story, but different flavors.
Completely different. Game one, the Cubs just exploded 12-3, looked like they couldn't miss.
An offensive clinic. But then,
And the Astros did what Astros do. Game two was a classic pitching duel. They shut the Cubs out 2-0.
so that split really highlights their different strengths, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Cubs firepower versus the Astros pitching and like that championship know-how.
Absolutely. And you saw Houston's tactical side in game two, working counts, making the Cubs pitchers really labor. It's subtle stuff, but it pays off, especially in saving their own bullpen.
Okay, one more doubleheader split, Nationals and Angels. Maybe not the highest profile, but still interesting.
Definitely. Angels took game one pretty easily, 8-2. Looked like a routine road win shaping up.
But the Nats fought back. Game two, they win 7-4. That's got to feel good for them.
Oh, huge for Washington. Prevents that sweep, gives them a real shot in the arm. And seeing their offense string hits together like that, especially those extra base hits in the fifth inning, it shows they can be dangerous.
And for the Angels, a split on the road isn't terrible, but maybe a missed opportunity.
Yeah, probably. Decent outcome, but you always want the sweep if you can get it.
So looking at all these splits, Braves, Phils, Cubs, Astros, Nats, Angels, that's a big takeaway here, beyond just parity.
I think it really drills down on a team's ability to adjust, like right there in the middle of the day. Coaching moves, bullpen usage, but also just the players resetting mentally after a tough loss.
That's a great point. It's like a real-time stress test.
Exactly. These splits tell you a lot about a team's makeup, maybe even their championship potential.
Okay, let's shift gears from the doubleheaders to some of the standout single games. We had some dominant pitching. Cardinals shutting out the Guardians 7-0 really caught my eye.
Oh, yeah, that was a statement. Complete control. It wasn't just one pitcher either. It felt like a total team effort on the mound, letting the bullpen stay rested.
And for Cleveland, being shut out like that, especially at home, has to raise some questions about their offense, right?
It does, especially against good pitching. Consistency seems to be the issue there.
Dylan's jumped to the AL East, always a pressure cooker.
Always. Toronto kept rolling, beat the Red Sox 5-3 in Boston. That's a solid road win, keeps their momentum going.
And for Boston, another close one they couldn't quite nail down. That's got to be frustrating for them.
Meanwhile, Baltimore got a big win against Tampa Bay, 5-1. Crucial in that division race. Every single one of those games feels massive.
Okay, but talk about offense. The Yankees. Wow. 12-5 over Oakland.
Yeah, just flexing their muscles. And Aaron Judge? My goodness.
2 more homers. That puts him at 30 already. Just incredible. MVP pace, easily.
It really is. But what's also impressive about the Yankees, and you saw it yesterday, is the depth. It wasn't just Judge.
Right, they got contributions up and down the lineup. Multiple guys driving in runs.
Exactly. Even guys lower in the order chipped in with key hits. That's what makes them so dangerous. It's not just relying on one superstar.
Now, on the flip side of dominance,
Yeah.
the Mets, a 12-1 loss to the Pirates. That's surprising and significant, I'd say.
Hugely surprising. For a team with the Mets' expectations, a loss like that lopsided, it's definitely a red flag. Raises questions about pitching depth, Maybe just a really bad day that spiraled.
And for Pittsburgh, that's a massive confidence booster, right? Beating a team like the Mets so
Oh,
decisively.
absolutely. They'll take a ton from that, especially how they jumped on mistakes early.
We also had some really tight finishes. Cincinnati getting past San Diego 3-2.
Yeah, a real grinder. Shows both teams can compete in those close, low-scoring games where every play matters. High-pressure stuff.
And the White Sox beat the Giants 5-2. A nice win for Chicago, trying to climb out of that hole.
Definitely a boost for them. Beating a solid team like the Giants shows they can hang.
Also, Colorado squeaked by Milwaukee 4-3. Good interleague win for the Rockies.
Yeah, beating a strong Brewers team, that's a positive sign for them. Shows they can compete outside their usual matchups.
And then, almost routinely, it feels like sometimes, the Dodgers just keep winning. 5-1 over Kansas City.
Just solid, consistent baseball, good starting pitching, timely hitting. They executed a couple of nice hit and runs. They just look like one of the elite teams day in and day out.
So let's zoom out again. We've unpacked the doubleheaders, the big wins, the upsets. What does yesterday, June 29th, tell us about the bigger picture of the 2025 season?
Well, I think it was really a day where narratives shifted or maybe got reinforced. You had the big dogs like the Yankees and Dodgers looking dominant.
Right, confirming their status.
Yeah. But then you had the upsets like the Pirates over the Mets, reminding you that, anything can happen on any given day. Underdogs can bite.
And that balance between hitting and pitching really stood out, too.
Absolutely. You saw the raw power from teams like the Cubs and Yankees, but then the pitching masterclasses from the Cardinals and Astros, it reminds you that you still need that strong presence on the mound to win consistently.
It felt like a miniature version of the whole season packed into one Sunday.
That's a great way to put it. The dominance, the resilience, like we saw from Philly and Washington, the complete surprises. It was all there.
So, thinking ahead now, what are the implications? We're heading into the thick of summer. The trade deadline isn't that far away.
These results are really valuable data points now. For the contenders, wins build confidence, solidify their standing. Losses, especially surprising ones, highlight areas they might need to address before the deadline.
And for the teams trying to turn things around.
A big win, even just splitting a doubleheader like the Nationals did, can be a huge psychological boost. It can change the mood in the clubhouse, maybe spark a run. These games definitely impact decisions moving forward, roster moves, strategy, everything. Every game feels like it weighs a bit more now.
It really does. As we wrap up this look back at yesterday, it just reinforces how captivating baseball is.
Absolutely. The narratives change pitch by pitch. Heroes step up. Teams face challenges you never really know until that final out.
Yesterday absolutely delivered. Thrills, surprises, great performances. Makes you excited for what's next.
Definitely leaves you wanting more.
That competitive fire is clearly burning bright across the league. If yesterday showed us anything, it's that we're in for a really compelling summer of baseball. As we push towards October, every single moment matters. So thinking about everything we discussed, what part of yesterday's action, maybe the doubleheaders, maybe Judge's power, maybe an upset, what stands out to you as a key insight into how this whole season is playing out?